All right, as y'all seen the last.
Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Harakakpadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS, of Great Millstone, and Ruel. Those are the true prophets of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai.
It ain't no way we
or not. And peace, love, and citations to the elect of the true nation of Israel, Yasharallah. All right, quick lesson, man, on the topic of, you know, the tariffs, these tariffs being put on these other countries outside of America who used to deal with America and sell their goods to America, and who America used to source their goods in factories and made goods from, man. Because China, and these other countries like India and etc. You know, even like Europe has their goods, wine and whatnot. All these countries America is a seller's. America doesn't really make much anymore. It's a seller's, for lack of better words, country. You know, people go there to come here to sell their goods and go back to the lands, because they make money off us Israelites, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, because this American culture, is make money and spend it. Live lavishly. And that's why things cost so much here. In these other countries, they make their stuff for cheap, and they sell their stuff here in America. Okay, and also America has outsourced the labor of these goods to these other countries. All right, these other countries will slave away and make these goods like shoes and goods and whatnot, like clothes and whatnot, for cheap. And America, was like, okay, we got cheap, really super duper cheap labor here in China, so we're gonna put our factories and whatnot in China, because these Moabites, they're gonna make our stuff for cheaper, so okay, and then they ship them over here to America, and they sell those same Nikes and clothes, for more than what they're worth, for $100-$200, when really they cost like $5, less than that, because these shoes, they're just made out of foam, rubber, plastic, and plastic is so common nowadays. It's so cheap, it's everywhere, man. You could recycle plastic. That's what half these Nikes, probably more, probably all of them now. The new Nikes are recycled, man. Recycled shoes. All right, recycled plastic, rubber, tires, toothbrushes, toys, and they just put them into shoes. And they sell them for you. They sell them to you for the same price, 100, 150, 200. $200. When these Moabites, they make them for like around $1 or a little bit more, man. All right. So yeah, man, and so these tariffs, the U.S. is putting tariffs on countries like China and India and whatnot, and these countries are like, okay, we're just gonna go to the consumer.
We've been getting finessed like this, y'all.
Sell it to them.
And China just exposed it all. So boom, Americans out here dropping 800, 1,200, and even 4,000 and more on designer clothes, thinking it's all luxury, all high quality clothes, the high end stuff. But China just pulled the curtain back and showed the world that most of the stuff is made in the same factories with material that costs a fraction of the price. So we're talking shoes that cost $30 to make, but it's being sold in US for $700. And we're talking with material that costs a fraction of the price. And hoodies that cost $10 to make, that's being sold for over $300. And jeans that cost $50 to make, that's being sold for $500 to $1,000.
Man, that's over.
That's not high end. That's robbery. Y'all, and this is the crazy thing. This is not even new. A lot of people just been blind to it. They think it just because it got a fancy label, that means it costs more. In reality, that just means the markups is better. China basically said, here y'all go. Now y'all better act like you know. And now everybody mad. They not mad at China.
Not only does China manufacture all luxury brands, but they said if you need clean clothes, we got you. Watch this.
Do you want to buy laundry pots? Do you want laundry capsule? Do you want laundry bits?
Wow.
One pot costs only 5 cents.
5
You
cents.
can get 20 pots for just $1. You have good quality with better price. Do you want to buy laundry pots? Do you want laundry capsule? Do you want laundry bits? One pot costs only 5 cents. You can get 20 pots for just $1. You have good quality with better price.
And people are finessing. Walmart and places like that, they put fucking security slack you. They put security tags and chips on these Tide Pods and these detergents, man. So people don't steal them because they're expensive. $15, $10, you know. But you could get them for 50 cents each, you know. Just go to the source, because China was cool, with America, because America wasn't taxing them, wasn't putting tariffs on them. Now America's putting Donald Trump, DJ Trump, he's doing his job. He's putting tariffs on these countries, and these countries are like, okay, if you're gonna do that, all right, we're gonna mess up your economy even more, all right, and we're gonna just go to straight, to the consumer, and the consumer's gonna go straight to the source. Because they make these. America doesn't make Tide Pods. America doesn't make shoes. All right? The only shoes America makes is like boots and country stuff and like maybe a little bit of U.S. surplus.
10 years factory in Guangzhou. If you want to be
United States
everything,
surplus, man. Military surplus. If that, man. Everything else is made in China. Taiwan, India.
Stop by on Alibaba. On Alibaba, you will only meet a middleman who raise up the price up to the sky. Here are 5 better websites recommended to you. Looking for industrial supplies, go to VIPMRO.com. Looking for electronic components, try SQEW.com. For furniture, head to MayEllie.com. Looking for men's clothes, go to WSY.com. Looking for food and beverages, check SPDL.com. Comment below what other products you are looking for. For furniture, head to MayEllie.com. Looking for men's clothes, go to WSY.com. Looking for food and beverages, check SPDL.com. Comment below what other products you are looking for.
See, even, she may be, putting you on some websites that sell a lot of like counterfeit and good, not counterfeit. I think that's what it is. They're knockoffs, knockoff brands and whatnot. But they, China, they still as well, and they still make like the real stuff. You go over there to China, you can still buy the real stuff for cheap. They'll do that. And there's some websites, that'll they literally make the same shoe, the same thing, but it's just not made in a Nike factory, man. And they use the same molds, stitching, material, and everything,
Cut the BS. How much do these go for?
Like 9.5.
$90?
Nine. Nine.
And I got some shoes.
$9?
Yeah.
Wow, this shoe is $9. Wow.
What do you think about that?
It's amazing because they're going for like, people are selling for like $500.
Do you think you could sell your own shoe?
I definitely could. Cut the BS. How much do these go for?
Like 9.
See, this, people are they're waking up to the fact that, us Americans, regular old everyday Americans are being scammed. Not even scammed, just, oppressed, being how do you say, we're making these elites richer and richer because they're capitalizing off of us, man. All right, they're making these goods for cheap with these foreign countries, all right, and they're selling it to us for a higher price, and we have to work for it even harder for it, man. And then they put this propaganda and media where if you don't live lavishly, if you don't have this many expensive designer bags or shoes, designer this, if you don't have this type of car or multiple cars, you know, you're not going to be liked. You know, women won't like you. You're not cool and whatnot, and you'll get homeless people, trying to get really nice expensive stuff, man. You know, because that's the propaganda in American lifestyle that's pushed upon us people, man. So of course, people they'll rob and steal, or they'll spend their last dollar instead of paying a light bill or a bill on the house. They'll pay with that money to buy some shoes or a designer shirt for $100 some odd instead of putting food on the table. Instead of paying
Girl,
bills,
China said, fuck them tariffs. They are offering 13% cash back on any purchases from American citizens. And not only that, they're going to give you 280 hours of visa-free entry into China to go shopping. No paperwork, nothing to do, no visa needed. You can just go to China and buy whatever it is you want. They said if America wants to try to keep American citizens from buying foreign goods, good luck. Because not only can you come here and buy the same shirt that you would buy in America for $40 and buy it there for $21, they also took away all prosecutions from fake brands. So they used to prosecute retailers who were making knockoff brands. They said, not anymore, honey. You can come buy all you want. They're not prosecuting any of their citizens for making knockoff brands like Nike, Versace, Gucci, none of that shit. And now they're going to give you 280 hours travel free to come on over there and buy whatever it is you want with a 13% instant cash rebate. I think y'all fucked around with the wrong one, man. I can't even hold you. Girl, China's travel free to come on over there and buy whatever it is you want with a 13% instant cash rebate. I think y'all fucked around with the wrong one, man. I can't even hold you. Girl, China's...
So yeah, man. Trump think, these Edomites, Trump putting tariffs on these other countries, thinking that, he's going to slowly make America the manufacturer of the world again, like it was, 200 years ago. Nah, man, it's doing the opposite, man. It's making America worse because this isn't 200, 100, 150 years ago, man. The next industrial revolution we're going into is...
I remembered something about Donald Trump from college.
Okay, and this American current economy has to...
All right, as y'all seen in the last video, I got these new Kobe 5s, and they ripped on me the first day. So here I am going to the same Foot Locker to try and exchange them for a new pair. They had some about the 5s, I would have bought those.
Back to this TikTok,
here's the exchange pair. I'm about to... As y'all seen in the last video.
So yeah, man. And NBA players, basketball players, all over TikTok and social media, they're complaining about... They're complaining about their Kobe Bryant shoes. They're Kobe's. The soles coming off, falling off, the glue not being good quality. The shoes just not being good quality, man. And these are the actual retail authentic ones coming from Nike, all right. NBA players, they're, busting through their shoes, their whole sole coming off. And there's videos, you can type it in on TikTok, on YouTube, and whatnot. And these are the real Kobe's, the real ones, and they're busting up, these look damn near brand new, still icy, He said after one day, that already happened, man. And these cost a lot, man. And resale is crazy, man. Resale is expensive for these shoes, you know. And I buy, you know, I have no shame about it, man. I buy fake ones, man. So called. They're made by the same materials, the same molds. Okay. It's just not made by Nike, man. And I'm not gonna expose the website, because you know I like the website. You know, I don't want to. I want to keep it up and going, so I'm not gonna show y'all what it is. You know, if you want to, you know, comment on my video and I'll put you on there. But I you know, I want to keep them, you know, secret so I can keep buying them. But sure, I bought a pair from this this website that I'm talking about from overseas, and they're specifically, you know, they make the best Kobe's out there, man, that are not officially made by Nike. They literally source the same plastic, the same materials and leather and rubber. They have the technology in the sole, the air technology, the zoom, the fly wire, everything, the actual carbon fiber, and they actually make them with better quality. The glue is better, you know. The sole doesn't come off. I played basketball in them, man, and you know, I had no problems with them, man. You know, the sole wasn't coming off or nothing. You know, yeah, every shoe, you know, quality between every shoe is different. Sometimes there's like defects and exceptions, but you know, there's more complaints about these real shoes busting up and falling apart than the fake ones, man. The so-called fake ones, because really they're the same thing, man. They're just not made by Nike, you know. You know, and with these tariffs, and you know, these shoes are made from China anyway. You know, the same, if it be Nike or a knockoff, they're made from China anyway. You know, and China's like, okay, if you're gonna put tariffs on us, we're not gonna go to you middleman. All right, you know, we're gonna offer we're gonna go to the consumer, us. All right, and that's gonna affect these big name brands and whatnot, and it's just gonna forward and speed up the fall of this wicked kingdom, America, so-called America, Babylon the Great. All right, these companies, you know, they're gonna lose business and whatnot, and yeah, man. So yeah, let's bring out some precepts. This is Revelation 18:10. Where I want to start. And 9, Revelation 18:9, it says, "And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning." Okay. These kings of the earth, this is talking about these other nations like China, okay, India, Japan, you know, the European countries, Africa countries, you know, all these other countries, man, that dealt with America, you know, the Arabian countries, the Middle East, now all that, you know, that dealt with America, you know, they prospered off of the wealth of America and American culture and whatnot, you know. That's what it's talking about when it comes to fornicating with her, committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, and that fornication is these other nations coming over here and selling their goods and prospering and making money off of us Israelites, man, licking the wounds from us in poverty. All right. Oh, these Israelites, they'll buy anything, man. They'll buy the same stuff that you guys make in China over here for triple the price. So, you know, come over here. And then there's these, you know, shoot, the Indians, all they do is put up a gas station, you know. Shoot, these Asians, you know, they, you know, the same thing, you know, they work at the freaking, the Great Wall. They prosper off the Great Wall, man, in these freaking Asian restaurants, man. Okay, selling us unlawful foods because our people will eat it, you know. All right, knockoff stores and whatnot, you know, they're licking the wounds. They're fornicating with America, you know, like the scriptures say. You know, these heathens are gonna fornicate. It's like they're gonna lick our wounds when we're down. Okay, we're wounded. All right. It says, shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. All right, and America is going to eventually be a country, you know, a continent-sized lake of fire. And after that, it's going to just be smoke and then turn into a desert. All right. Verse 10 says, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment, because America's going to be destroyed by nuclear missiles, 200 million of them in 1 hour, man. All right. All right. And it says standing afar off for the fear of torment, saying, all right, it says standing afar off because these heathens, they're going to go back to their country, man. All right. They're going to go back and they're going to be watching the destruction of America, on TV and social media and whatnot. All right. And it says, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city. That's talking about America. Okay. This is Babylon the Great all over again. All right. Spiritual Babylon, spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah, spiritual Egypt. Verse 11. The merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. No one, and they're starting to go to China and these other countries instead of buying them here in America. People don't buy American stuff anymore, man. American made stuff, because nothing's made in America anymore. And they're not going to be buying these name brands here very soon, because people are finding better stuff for cheaper, a little bit, less quality, and then these tariffs is going to make that even worse. All right. The merchants of the earth, that's talking about these heathens, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Indians, the Arabs, the Africans and whatnot, all these countries coming over here and making a buck off of us Israelites, us people, of America. All right. Verse 12, it says, the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and the pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thine wood and all manner vessels of ivory and all manner vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. And the fruits that thy soul lusteth after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and godly, and goodly, are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants, verse 15, the merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. And these heathens, they see this country falling, and they're doing exactly what the scriptures are said that they're going to do. They're going to go back to the country, afar off, watching us Americans on us Americans on TikTok and whatnot, selling their goods for cheaper. All right, because they source the goods. They make the materials over there in China and these other countries. It's not made in America. It's made in China. They're like, okay, we make this stuff for really cheap anyway. We don't have to go to the middleman to sell our goods. We're just gonna go to, because it's costing more, because the middleman is taxing these people, is taxing these merchants, these agents, these China, these other countries. So they're just gonna go to us Americans, just the regular old day, everyday people. I don't put tariffs on other countries. That's these big businesses. All right. Okay, these tariffs affect these big businesses as well, man, because they have to. It costs them more to pay. It costs them more, all right, to sell these goods, and it costs these other nations, all right, to sell their goods too. But us Americans, us regular day old Americans, we're not taxing nobody. All right. We're affected by tariffs, but when it comes to where we buy things, we don't tax these people. So shit, we could buy this stuff online, go over there to China ourselves, and buy these things for the same price that the middleman, all right, these big what they do, like I said, they buy this stuff from these other countries that make it for really cheap, and they sell it to us for triple the price, quadruple the price, and us Americans will buy it because we don't know better. We don't know how to find it. We don't know that, hey, we could just go to China or these other countries and buy it online. That's why it's illegal to buy knockoff stuff, because you're really getting the same thing, man, for cheaper, But yeah, you could read the rest of this chapter. Yeah, it goes into the same topic, man. You can read the rest of Revelation 18. So I'm going to bring out a few more of them and end it off. Isaiah 13 and 14, it says, it shall be Isaiah 13 and 13, it says, therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, the Lord of armies, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chase roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up, they shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. And that's these heathens, man. All right, they're going back. They're going back to their original countries, and they're gonna just sell their goods from there. You saw the TikToks, man. All right, they were showing you where these name brands, these major name brands, where you could get the same thing. They're showing you websites where you could get the same quality, the same thing. Just buy it from here, and it's cheaper. Because the name brands, they're going to charge you triple, quadruple the price, because it's their official website and whatnot. It's their official factory, When you could just go to that same factory, or go to a factory that makes the same thing, There's a bunch of factories, in China, in India, in these other countries, man. Isaiah 14, and I'm just talking about like clothes and shoes. There's like spices, in the Middle East, there's, in Egypt and whatnot. There's all bunch of goods. Sugar cane, America, the price of living is outrageous, and it doesn't have to be, but it's outrageous because, they're trying to tank and oppress the people so far to the point where they're gonna uprise, and there's gonna be chaos on the streets, because the dollar's not going to be worth anything, and everything's going to be so damn expensive. This is purposely happening. And the price of goods and living is getting more and more expensive on purpose. All right. Isaiah 14 and 16, it says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? I brought this scripture out because these countries, and just people in general, they're realizing, hey, we don't have to buy, that they're finding out they're being scammed, man. They're being screwed over. You don't have to pay $200, $100, $150 for a pair of Nikes, when you could go straight to the source, and pay like $50 at most, because it's made, it costs like $3 to make. It's just plastic, it's just rubber, it's just foam, that's all it is, synthetic materials. It's not real stuff, and those materials are made there in China. There's a lot of oil, there in China. They make a lot of polyester, plastics, and shoes and stuff. That's the capital of the world when it comes to like plastic stuff, man. In China, in Asia, You know, they get, it's easy to find some plastic there, you know, some shoes, some clothes, some cheap stuff, man. You know, for cheap, less than pennies. You know, instead of going to Nike.com, spending $150, losing a raffle because, hey, people want that same shoe. They're paying triple, quadruple the price of what it's actually made for, man. You know, people are realizing that living in America is just BS, man. All right. And when it says this is the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, you know, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners, you know. So yeah, man. Then people are looking at this devil, this Edomite, this so-called white man, and they're realizing, hey man, this man isn't, you know, as glorious and mighty as he once was, man. You know, he's effing himself. You know, literally, he's effing himself. You know, by putting tariffs and actually systematically, purposely crashing his own economy, you know, and system, so he could build back up to his new world order, and that's what he wants. But the Lord's gonna come right when it's established and upset it with nuclear missiles and the thousands and thousands of his angels and the so-called UFOs, the chariots of the Lord, saving his elect and destroying you heathens and putting you heathens that don't get destroyed into slavery, okay? And then establishing the kingdom of heaven, you know, right after that. And the elect of Israel, of Yasharallah, are going to be glorified with Yahushua and be joint rulers with him in the kingdom.